Greetings, friends. So I'm sitting here drinking my coffee. Started my day not that long ago. I'm going to go ahead and chime in on some of this drama that's going on in the fitness industry. Now, if anybody from fitness circles catches this, they're going to be like, bro, like, do you even lift? It's usually like big, strong people who are like popular for being in such good shape who talk about this. But I do watch a lot of fitness content. I'm looking over at my hats because it's really time to shave my head. So we're going to wear a hat, buddies. I need to make a good first impression on the fitness community, like that's even going to happen. But anyway, getting to the point, this whole Mike Van Wyck versus Jeff Nippard thing. I haven't even finished this video that came out today. From John Bravo Films, CCTV footage proves Jeff Nippard misled everyone about Mike Van Wyck. I got 7 minutes into the video. If you want to see the footage of what actually happened in the altercation, you can go watch that video. I'll leave the link in the description. And I was kind of already having these thoughts before this came out. But everything that led up to this coming out was completely one-sided. Everybody rocking with Jeff Nippard, being like, oh, Mike Van Wyck is going to go to prison. Mike Van Wyck is canceled. Basically, cancel culture in full effect. And cancel culture is something that I've talked about on my channel before. So I feel like this is starting to fall into my territory. And it's a very unique situation because we have Jeff Nippard, who's 5'5", incredibly good shape, and he's one of these pioneers of science-based lifting, which I'm actually finding that I don't have a problem with. I enjoy his content. I just recently subbed to his channel amidst all of this drama. I already knew about him. I was kind of, I watched guys like Juji Mufu and Boogs, Rick Bugenhagen. He's probably like my favorite of like all the fitness content guys just because he's funny and he's massive. And you know, guys like that had kind of made a thing of like making fun of the science-based lifting, saying similar stuff to what Mike Van Wyck said. And what Mike Van Wyck said was like, this guy, you know, these science-based lifters don't even have impressive physiques. So like, you know, who are you going to ask? The guy who has the gains or the guy who's going off on all this nerdy crap? Now, I definitely don't agree with that train of thought because I can tell you that for a 5'5" man, especially if he's not natural, my natty alarm, my natty radar is kind of like going off on Jeff Nippard. I am not 100% positive that he's natural. I'm not accusing him of not being natural. Now, he competes. Apparently, he's competed in natural bodybuilding, which means that he's been tested. But UFC fighters get tested too, and More Plates, More Dates has a bunch of stuff to say about that. But this isn't about me coping and being jealous and accusing him of being on roids. I'm not even going to the gym today, probably, because my freaking lower back feels off for some reason. So he very well might be natural. Like, Jeff Nippard has a very respectable physique. He does look good. He's very strong. I mean, to me, if he is natural, then you should probably respect the stuff that he says about lifting. And I'm enjoying his content because it kind of backs up some of the stuff that I've been saying. Like, his science-based approach is saying that protein is just a little bit overrated. Now, I'm not so certain I'm going to be a part of this durian rider, high-carb, low-fat, low-protein movement forever, but that is, for the time being, what I'm rocking with. And it's interesting how some of the things he says, like his approach is saying that you don't need nearly as much protein as you think, and he doesn't speak down on intermittent fasting, but he did say that there's nothing wrong with having a lot of small meals throughout the day. Having a lot of meals throughout the day is in line with Durian Rider, and not having a ton of protein is in line with Durian Rider. So I've kind of liked his approach. And, me, I'm not anti-science, but believe it or not, sometimes there is a truth beyond the science. Now, why is that? Well, it's because studies are inductive. You can change things. You can get a higher sample size. You can do the same exact study over again with the same exact people and get different results. It's useful, but there's some people, I swear, science in a way that many people would laugh at and don't understand is like this modern sorcery where it's like, we have the power. Look at what the study says. We have disproven this. We have proven this. And you can literally do the exact same study over again, change the measurements, change the sample size, use the same sample size, and you could possibly get different results. So I'm just a little bit more neutral. I'm just a little bit less overwhelmed with the sheer power of science than other people. But anyway, let's start getting to the point here. Because my point about this is, first of all, whatever happens to people just getting their ass kicked? And it's not that that's how I think things should be. It's not that I agree with that or want that to be the way things are. On some level, things are improving because of the world of cameras. But there's a way that people are now that I think we have seen in this CCTV footage that's revealed in John Bravo films. Okay, after the entire world dogpiles Mike Van Wyck and says that he's a horrible person, he's going to prison, and Nippard should press charges and all this stuff. Now it's been revealed that Nippard approached him. Okay? Van Wyck walked by in front of him and kind of just said, hey, how's it going? And he gave him a little bit of a look. And then Jeff made this really cocky smile and laughed at his cameraman, and you can see it all on camera. And then you can see Van Wyck look back, and as we've heard from the quotes, it's like, oh yeah, it's about to get really funny in here. And what's happening in this modern world of cameras is that smaller people like Nippard versus Mike Van Wyck, and like me, but see, I'm not like this because of where I grew up and the experience I had. It's getting to this point where they want to completely neutralize the advantage that a bigger, meaner person has. Because it's like, oh, you never have the right to assault anybody. You never have your right to put your hands on anybody. But should a bigger, stronger opponent be able to demand any level of respect, they're completely trying to neutralize this. Hey, man, I'm 3 times your size, and I can fuck you up. And now keep in mind that if Jeff were to have handled this a little bit differently, he would be able to get the upper hand, because in his defense, it does seem like Mike Van Wyck is kind of this meathead who was triggered by Jeff Nippard's kind of cutting edge, science-based lifting. Like, ultimately, Nippard's channel is one of the biggest up-and-coming fitness channels on YouTube. I had never really heard of Mike Van Wyck before, and people pointed out that, he'd been called out in the past by bigger guys, and he didn't want anything to do with it, and he's been kind of getting canceled lately. But the way this interaction went is that Mike Van Wyck just kind of says, hey man, how's it going? And it's all body language. It's like, here I am standing in front of you, like you're tiny and I'm huge. The modern world seems to be a lot of triggered short people and weaker people who want to completely undo that because there's always cameras watching. I know I've seen it in the live streamer community. They go around and they act like they're tough and they talk like they're going to beat people up, but really they carry pepper spray. And then as soon as somebody gets in their face, it's assault. Did you get that on film? Dude, you're going to hear from my lawyer, dude. I'm taking you to court, dude. And then everybody who's watching backs them up. It's like, yeah, it was assault. Wow, that guy assaulted you. And it's like, 20 seconds ago, you were in the chat boosting these people up like they could beat anybody up, like they're tough guys. And then there's the pepper spray. Like, They act like they're going to fight people, and then as soon as somebody puts their hands on them, they pull the pepper spray. It's like, that guy assaulted me, dude. Can you believe that he actually assaulted me? It's like, well, as somebody from Kodiak, Alaska, who had never heard the word assault until I left. Assault was not in anybody's vocabulary. You got your ass kicked was. I, once upon a time, was assaulted in the back of a car by an older man. I was 18 and he was 20 and we were drinking, and that was against the law. So I couldn't really get cops involved. But it never occurred to me. I think maybe my dad said something because I was fucked up. I had black eyes and a busted up face. This guy fucking busted me up in the back of a car, bro. But I engaged, and on some level, I mean, I look back on that and I wish I would have did this and this and that, but you know, I tried to put him in a headlock and I threw those little stupid wrestler punches, and it was a fight. And I got my ass kicked, bro. And what people do today is they make sure they don't even try to fight back at all. And they just have this smug look on their face while they get their ass kicked because they know they don't have a chance in the fight. Okay? Especially in this situation where it's Mike Van Wyck versus Nippard. There's no shot. This guy's a completely different weight class than you. You got a smug look on your face while you're getting thrown across the gym. I'm going to press charges. And that is not the world I came from. I never heard, did you hear that this guy got assaulted? Did you hear that guy got assaulted? Every now and then it would happen because there's people in my town that were so fucking mean that they would like stomp people's faces in and shit. And every now and then it's like, yeah, well, that guy's in the hospital. So there was assault charges. The police did get involved. But there was some level of an honor system that I don't even think people were aware that you could question. It's just like a fight happened and I lost. And I'm not saying that that's right. If anything, I've taken so much flack for getting my ass kicked, like really just like the one time. You know, it was probably kind of a traumatizing thing for me. And now we live in this like, oh, it's always famous influencer people, and there's no such thing as them being able to get into a fight where they get their ass kicked. And this wasn't even really a fight. Like, you look at this interaction, and you know, he basically like choked through him. Jeff keeps calling it a punch, but he had an open hand. It's like, bro, that wasn't a punch. Like, he's so much massively bigger than you that it probably felt like a punch, but he just like threw you, dude. He grabbed your fucking neck and he threw him, and he was right next to like a cable row bench, and he tripped over it. And it's just like, bro, you went to the hospital over that? And then he goes to, he probably, I mean, you know, I don't know. Maybe he needed to go to the hospital, but he goes to the hospital and he takes pictures of the little red marks. And I see it on camera, because then other than that, you know, he just kind of like grabbed his throat for a couple of seconds, but he didn't like throw him down. It's like, bro, I had guys do that to me at a party just like messing around, and there wasn't even like a fucking thing. Like, I'd be at a party and like some football player guy would grab me by the fucking throat, be like, I'm old Greg, bitch, and then like push me and be like, damn, dude, that guy's a lot bigger than me. I mean, it's just, people want to use like their fucking fame and their clout and the fact that there's all these cameras to completely neutralize the world of the jungle, where it's like, that guy is way bigger than you, and on some level you need to like have a certain level of respect, where it's like, you know, when he gave you that cocky face and said, hey, how's it going, man? You probably shouldn't have gave a smug look to your cameraman and like, can you believe this guy? And then he accurately turned around and was like, oh yeah, it's about to get real funny. That's a bigger guy than you. And yeah, he's triggered because you're the up and coming YouTuber. I mean, you ultimately win, bro. But this whole like, what is this guy thinking, dude? What he's thinking is that he could fucking throw you across the room with one hand. Oh, and that's exactly what he did. But then everybody, no, it's assault. It's like, and everything I'm saying is probably just a relic of the past. Like, wow, dude, like, you're completely wrong about all of this. It's not necessarily how things should be, but it's the same kind of people who mock toxic masculinity. Everything's toxic masculinity, and you're like right wing, and you want to vote for Trump, and you're thinking like, wow, man, the world is headed to a crazy place. You're part of it. You're part of what's headed the world to a crazy place. Because on some level, when this guy is in your face and he just gives you a cocky little smile, which I have experienced many, many, many times in my life. Dude, when I played the show, when I did my first rap thing in Vegas, there was some fucking guys there, dude. There's that video with me and Versatile the Wild Child. That's what's love, bro. Rip. He died, unfortunately. Dude, that guy was way bigger than me. And he was clowning on me a little bit. And there was cameras, and I'm like, dude, you can't. It was like, I just knew. It's like, bro, this guy could throw me through a fucking fish tank. And there's some other guy there who wasn't even performing. He must have been like 6'6", 280 pounds, lean, ripped. I remember the doorman at the venue my punk band played at. He was like 6'8", 300 pounds. I've just been around guys who are just so massively bigger than me. It's like, it just is what it is, dude. This guy could fucking throw you into the sun. And that's just life. That's just how God made him. And this is just how God made me. And, you know, keep in mind, I do martial arts and I work out. And I'm trying to be about as mean as I can possibly be, dude. But there's just certain realities to the jungle that are out there. And Jeff is already, like, winning, dude. You got the big YouTube channel, like, you won. All you have to do is stay in your fucking lane. And when you marched up to him like you were going to do something, and then, of course, he's going to say, like, I just wanted to talk to him. But, dude, there's a law of the jungle, and all these people on the internet are trying to erase it. Like, he assaulted him. It's like, okay, according to the law and according to the cameras and everything, he did. But one, he probably was just being a dramatic little fair. I don't want to say stuff that gets me. He was probably just being dramatic when he went to the hospital, okay? He got fucking thrown over a bench and he fell on his butt and it was embarrassing. And then Mike just walked him down and stood in his face and then grabbed his throat for a little bit. It's like, dude, I don't really think that was assault. I basically think that as long as that guy doesn't, because what people were saying was that Mike approached him and did that unprovoked. That would be assault, okay? On the other side of the story, we don't live in a world where big guys can just assault people for no reason in public. And it happens out of the public eye, but yeah, if he had marched up to Nippard and did that ultimately unprovoked just because he made the videos, well, then the internet would basically be right. But Jeff does the cocky looking at his friend, and he was triggered, dude. Because he's like, oh yeah, it's about to get real funny. I mean, was it kind of like stupid for Mike Van Wyck to do that? You know, he's kind of ghetto and triggered about Jeff's success. But when Jeff puffed his arms out and walked up to Mike Van Wyck like he's going to give him a real stern talking to, from what I grew up with, from what I understand about the world, getting fucking thrown across a bench like you're a little nobody is justified. I've had those experiences, dude. When I first, it wasn't even a guy who was that much bigger than me, dude. It's just a guy who was meaner than me. Like the first time I was in the weed circle with like the cool friends, this guy goes and stands in front of me and takes my spot in the weed circle. It's like, hey man, you took my spot. He grabs me and throws me to the ground. And I get back up. It's like, what are you doing, dude? And he threw me to the ground again. It's like, dude, and he kept with like a blank face. He just kept throwing my ass on the ground until I shut the fuck up and learned my place. That's the kind of shit that I was brought up with, dude. That's how I like kind of became who I am and learned about the world. And I've just kind of learned, because I think a lot of these people who do this, he assaulted me, and you see it on the camera, like you grew up with like money and privilege, and you probably grew up in like some fancy pants little town, you went to private schools, and you lived in gated communities. I grew up in the real ass world where it's like, hey, you know, that guy is a fucking bear, and you're a snake, and maybe don't act like you're a bear when you're around the bear, dude, because the bear can fuck you up. And it's a relic of the past. It's literally a relic of the past. It's like, damn, Stoic, like this is like the most wrong I've ever seen you be about everything. Well, that's like soy shit, okay? In the real world, and I'm the last person who would want to talk down on like little guys. I am a little guy, dude, and given the right circumstances, I could clown somebody. But there's a certain level of just reality. When a big guy gets in your face, is like, hey man, and he just gives you that message. You don't be like, who are you talking to? Like, did you see this shit? What are you doing, bro? Like, that's not reality, bro. That's not reality. Like, if somebody can throw you across the room with one hand, then you should probably just let it go when that guy gives you some sort of a cocky look. And that's what I have to say about it. And then the last thing is, like, now that the footage has come out and we've seen what really happened, it's like, yeah, it's still probably labeled assault in the pink, like, surrounded by, like, pom-poms. In the little pink notebook that's outlined in pom-poms that's in safe space daycares, it's like, oh, yeah, that's assault. Weep, weep, squeak, squeak. There's little like squeaky shoe squeaks when the pen is on the pink book outlined in pom-poms. That's probably assault. But in the real fucking world, I mean, I thought everybody was lifting weights here, dude. Are we lifting weights? Is this men in a gym? And like some of you guys are taking testosterone. It's like, dude, this isn't like squeaky shoes, pink little notebook, Weenie Hut Jr., bro. It's like, these are both manly men. Jeff Nippard could probably throw me the way that Mike Van Wyck threw him. But I guess the message of my spiel is that there's a level of honor, especially if you're trying to be a manly man. And it goes beyond size, dude. You will get respect from bigger men when you carry yourself in a certain way. And part of how you carry that self is you were already in the right and you had an opportunity to be this honorable guy, okay? Because I'm not going to get in a fight with Mike Van Wyck. He's 100 pounds heavier than me. So when he gets in your face and makes the cocky little look, it's like, whatever, dude. Hey, I'm not going to fight you. Like, you give the neutral, it's like, I don't want to fight you. Whatever, dude. And you don't have to say stuff that puts yourself down, but you just, all right, dude. And you don't lip off and you don't do anything. But when you have this knowledge, like, he's probably going to assault me, I can probably get it on camera and I can get the whole world to take my side and I can go to the hospital when I got thrown, which it didn't look like a big deal at all, dude. I've been thrown all over the place, dude. I'm tiny. It's like, it's just kind of like squeaky pink notebook outlined in little pink pom-poms stuff that I can't further elaborate on because my videos have been a little bit spicy lately. To think that I could get a hate speech strike for talking to a bunch of weightlifters about how just they're trying to create a world where there's basically no benefits to being huge. And you're in an environment where you're all trying to get huge. You're trying to get huge. It's like, hey man, well, when you get huge, make sure you use the correct lingo and make sure that you just like don't, it's like, he microaggressed me, lock him up. You're basically creating an environment where there's no reason to be huge. And I'm not saying it's okay to assault people, but you should just have a level of reality. I think I've gone on for too long at this point. It's just reality. Did he assault Jeff Nippard? Even though Jeff Nippard walked up to him? Yes. According to the law. But in the jungle, in the world of men that's dying, you should have taken the high road, Jeff. And the high road is not acting like you're going to go stick your finger in this guy's face and give him a stern talking to. Like, that's probably what you wanted. You wanted to go get in his face and look tough, even though nothing physical happens at all, because we saw what happened when it gets physical. You wanted to walk up in his face and everybody looked like, whoa, Jeff put that guy in his place. But that's not reality, dude. You stepped into the jungle And now it's like, oh, lock the bear up for acting like a bear and treating me like a goat in the jungle, and just... That's what I gotta say, dude. Hopefully this video goes viral, because that's really the only reason I made it. Grift! Anyway, God bless you guys. Peace out.